Behind the Frenzy, sponsored by the My Auto Group.
Welcome everyone to the Behind the Frenzy podcast. I'm Dean Holzwarth along with my good friend Andy McDonald, and we are bringing you week 2 of the high school football season. First, we're going to kind of look back at week 1. Andy, kind of some of the takeaways from week 1.
We survived it. That's for sure.
We did survive it.
It was great weather this past weekend. Obviously Thursday and Friday had some pretty good games out there to watch. It was definitely an interesting one. There's some games maybe we didn't expect, I guess, in the scores, but for the most part, I feel like most of them did kind of go the way we did. But some comebacks and stuff that were exciting, a couple really good finishes. So yeah, it was good to just get the season going. And I think these teams are all only going to get better as it keeps going along. So.
Yeah, well, let's just dive in. We're actually going to have up to 24 games this week on Football Frenzy. So check that out Friday night. Yep. Back to our regular Friday nights. No more Thursdays. No more Labor Day. So we're just going to jump in every Friday night now. So no more wacky schedule.
Yeah.
So yeah, up to 24 games, like I said. Lots of big games this week. We're going to kick off with Byron Center is going against East Kentwood. Byron Center lost their first game last week against Hudsonville. Lost by a touchdown. From what I was listening to the game, it was a pretty evenly back and forth game. Obviously, it was a little sloppy at times. But yeah, obviously Hudsonville was able to come away with that win. So, you look at a team like Byron Center who lost so much, especially in the defensive ends. What's it going to take for them to kind of get back against a really good East Kentwood team in Cade Kaufman?
Yeah, it's definitely going to take a lot. I mean, it's we talked about they kind of lost a lot of their players from last year, and that might be a little bit of a struggle this year. I think it was impressive they were able to stay in this game against Hudsonville and keep it a game with a lot of new players. But obviously they have a great coaching staff over there. That's what helps them. But yeah, Cade Kaufman, East Kentwood, they have a lot of talent. I mean, the school they played from, I think it was Southfield this past week. I never heard of them before, so I don't know much about them. But either way, it looked like a good win. I mean, anytime you're able to put up that many points and win by that kind of margin, it's definitely a good sign in week 1 for your team, and it gives you a lot of confidence going this week. So Byron Center's on the opposite side of it. They got to kind of try to figure out a way to get off the mat on a tough loss against a school that I'm sure a lot of those kids want to be. They probably know a lot of them and stuff like that. So yeah, it was definitely going to be a challenge for them, but I think you just have to be able to take away Cade Kaufman's arm in this game and be able to maybe focus a little bit more on the run because he's able to beat you in so many ways. So
yeah, I can definitely see. I saw some highlights of Cade Kaufman from that first game. I can definitely see why you talked to him as one of our top 10 prospects. Some of his throws that he made, his wide receivers have to love him because
he's only getting better.
He's only getting better, and I think his confidence. And I'm going to tell you what, right now, I think East Kentwood is going to be a sleeper of this team this year. I'm not saying they're going to be like the Northview and run the table like we saw last year, but I definitely think that East Kentwood is going to be a team that's going to contend in the OK Red this year.
I agree. I think if they put it all together, they've had a lot of talent for a lot of years, but they've got some good coaching going on over there now, and I like where the direction of that program's going from when I went there and talked to them. So yeah, it'll be exciting to see if they're able to actually put it together and get some wins.
Yep, definitely. Next one, couple teams who came up on the short end this past week, and a little bit surprising, I think, on both accounts, is Rockford and Muskegon. One of these teams is going to be 0-2.
Yeah, when do we ever come into this matchup in the past with both teams at 0-1? I don't know.
Incredible. Obviously we're going to talk about Granville in a little bit here, but that game, 84 combined points. Granville pulls it out 44-40. I don't know. Jaden Terry obviously ran wild against Muskegon. Obviously, Muskegon's defense was not up to par that game, but I do think they're going to bounce back. What do you think about Rockford? I mean, you lose to Saline at home. I think they were up. Were they up big?
I didn't.
I think Saline was up, and I think Rockford came back, but then Saline kind of pulled away at the end.
Yeah. It was they got behind early. I didn't.
But
know
Rockford
that,
losing at home. I don't remember the last time Rockford's lost a season opener. To be honest with you.
Yeah, man, it's been a long time. Saline, that's not not a cupcake, I guess, to start the season to play against. They definitely scheduled a challenging game, but it's definitely frustrating. I think if you're a Rockford fan, just because last year was kind of didn't go the way they expected it to go, and now you start this year 0-1, and again, it comes down to this game against Muskegon. It feels like both these teams needed to win the last time they met. So I mean, it's that same kind of situation, and here we go again. And as for Muskegon with Shane Fairfield over there, I mean, this is definitely new territory for him and his teams right now. They have to find a way to actually get some wins. It seems like it kind of just came to them so easy my entire life, really, and more so since I've been covering high school football. But yeah, it's definitely going to be a big matchup, and neither team wants to lose this game. So it's just going to be one of those things where it's going to be a dogfight till the end. I'm sure the score is going to probably be pretty close going down to the fourth quarter. So I think I'm gonna lean with you, and I'm gonna go with Muskegon. I think they get a big win this time, and I think Rockford's and Brent Cummings over there are gonna have to figure out how to get back. But I don't in the long run. I think both these teams could be playoff teams regardless of what happens in this game. But you got to think just with the whole point system and everything else now. This matters a lot to get this win because both programs are still thought about so highly.
Yeah, I agree with you. I have a lot of respect for the Rockford program and what Brent Cummings has done. But I think I'm going to side with Muskegon being at home and obviously bouncing back from that tough loss against Granville, that road loss last week. Sure. All right, let's go into our next game, which you actually saw this team up close and personal. Great. Actually, yes.
Yeah, Northview.
Sorry, Vicksburg and Northview. My bad. Yes, Northview, big second half comeback against your school.
Well, I went there for a year.
For 1 year. West Catholic.
Yeah.
Were you surprised? Obviously, West Catholic took it to them early. Northview found a way to put up some points and make some big plays in that second half. Yeah, no, it was crazy because West Catholic kind of felt like the game went their way at first. They loved to run you over. It's kind of how they've always been, even since I did go there for that year. And they always kind of had like that kind of mantra, like we're just going to run it down your throat and run you over and win the game that way. And they kind of were doing that. I mean, they obviously have a whole new coaching staff now with Landon Grove and some players used to play there and stuff like that. But the tradition seems the same, and it felt like in that game they scored early in the second half. They went up 21-6, and it kind of just felt like they were going to be able to coast to a victory. I mean, I thought Northview would maybe hang around the way they ended the first half, but I didn't see the 3 touchdowns coming in the fourth quarter that came. I mean, they just started lighting them up over the top. I think once Muskegon kind of got the hint that, or not Muskegon, sorry, Northview got the hint that they could throw it over the top and make these passes. They were just burning West secondary and were able to score a lot. They had a tight end in that game. I wish I could remember his name right now, but oh my gosh, I mean, this kid was just running people over, dude. I mean, he one of the bigger players I've seen in a while at that position with like really, really good hands. And Northview's just got a lot of talent over there. They can do it with anybody. They can run the ball, they can pass the ball, and I think it finally came to life in that fourth quarter. I think just the shell shock, the place was packed at Falcon Stadium on Friday night. I think they were able to, kind of finally pull away there towards the end and find themselves in that quarter because they didn't want to go home losers, and I respect that because for both those teams, they both had a really tough end of last year. Obviously, Northview lost to Byron Center at the end of the year, and West Catholic had that crazy loss at home against Catholic Central, and that's 2 straight in a row that are just really, really tough to take in the chin for West Catholic. But if there's any program I trust to bounce back with how consistent they've been, it's West. But congrats to Northview. That was a heck of a finish. It was a lot of fun to watch from my view, that's for sure. Yeah, that kind of surprised me, that score did. When we talk about is Northview going to be as good as last year, and, so far so good, I guess. They answered the bell. Yeah. That is for sure. Before we talk about Granville Cass Tech, I want to talk about another team that you and I weren't there, but obviously Don Fellows is the coach. His son's the quarterback. But Kennewick Hills, your school you went to for 3 years. Yes, that is the one. Am I right? A last-second field goal against Forest Hills Northern. Yeah, that's a really big win to open the season. No, their offense is only looking better, and you mentioned their coach's son is the quarterback there, and he's only getting better and better and better. So I know it's exciting. Like Kennewick didn't win a lot of those games back when I was in high school, so it's kind of cool to see them compete in a lot more of these games and play a lot better football. So I think Don's got that program going in the right direction, and hopefully they're able to keep doing it because I never mind seeing my old school do well. That's for sure. 100%. All right, let's talk about Granville. Granville, huge challenge going to Cass Tech this week. Let me give you some Jaden Tank Terry stats from last week, and let me tell you a funny story. So, a little personal connection here with Granville. Obviously, I coached there for many years, girls basketball, but my daughters both go there. My middle daughter, Addie's a senior. My youngest daughter, Lily's a freshman. So Lily has an art class, and who does she sit next to in art class? Jaden Tank Terry. So that's kind of wild, right? You have a freshman and a senior. They're doing art together. I don't know. Anyway. Yeah. So just personal story there. Anyway, Jaden Terry, 19 carries, 273 yards, 3 touchdowns. Wow. And he obviously played defense as well, majority of the snaps. So great first game for Jaden Terry, one of our top prospects, going to the Fair State. He's going to have that type of effort against Cass Tech. Yeah, I kind of said coming in, their whole mantra that whole week going to the Muskegon game was like, Muskegon, we respect their program, they're great, but they got to play Granville too. And I think that they proved that they're one of those teams that's not just going to get stepped on in this area. That's for sure. It was really you couldn't stop keeping up on that score because you wanted to see what the final was going to be. Yep. There was so much hype around that game. I wasn't there to cover that one either, but I was keeping up on the score, and it was very back and forth. Seems like
both the teams. Like, I mean, Granville kind of had control a little bit the whole way, with, like keeping the lead, but Muskegon was right there and ready to take it if they had a chance. But Granville was able to, take care of it. And yeah, Jaden Terry's going to have a lot in his plate all year. I mean, they're not afraid to hand him the rock and let him go with the game. Any game I covered last year, it's kind of the way they did it. And I expect it to be a lot of the same this year. But yeah, Cass Tech's a different animal. That's a state champion a year ago, and it's going to be interesting to see what Granville is able to do against them. I would take Cass Tech if I had to predict the matchup, just because, again, just one of those schools that you just kind of I respect probably too much with how much success they've had and the players that have come out of that program and how good they've been. But Granville will be up for the challenge, and they will have those kids ready. It's just it's hard. It's a hard place to play at.
It is. I was going to say it's going to be a long road trip, and hopefully it's not as a longer road trip back from there.
Right.
Hopefully that Granville can compete in that conference. But no. I was super impressed with Granville. Last year they started 0-3. We talked about that. They lost 3 games, were very close, kind of in the last couple of minutes, and they were able to finish this game.
No doubt.
So I think that was a promising start for Coach Eric Siegel and the Bulldogs.
I want to give Granville a lot of credit for scheduling this game too against Cass Tech, because that's not something I think they would have done in the past. I don't remember them really having these kind of matchups. So it's pretty awesome to see that they're challenging themselves and going out there and playing at it.
It should be good. So one more game we're going to look at is Portage Central against Forest Hill Central. Both teams obviously won in week 1, so we're looking forward to that game as well.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, both programs in Kalamazoo and then here in the West Side that have been, very, very prominent in their areas. Yeah. So it'll be exciting to see what's able to happen in that game. Obviously, Forest Hill Central still kind of feels like I was able to watch them against Reese Puffer this past week. They're a little bit slow on offense. They kind of had a lead and actually let Puffer get back in that game, and it got a little bit dangerously close there for Forest Hill Central. They were able to close the door at the end, but it'll be interesting to see what happens with Portage Central. I haven't been able to see them play this year yet, but obviously we know they have some very good players on that team as well. So I think it'll be a good one. That's for sure.
Definitely. Well, I do have to caution before we leave today. I do have to caution you. It's going to be probably in the 50s Friday night. So I don't know if you'll be wearing shorts.
I'm going to try to stick it out if I can.
You're like those old school football coaches who literally be in shorts in 30 degrees.
I don't want to give up summer yet. As far as
fair enough. It's September though.
As far as I'm told, September 22nd. Okay, I think it's like 1 o'clock or something like that. It's summer.
You sound like my daughter.
So yeah, we're gonna keep this riding as long as we can. I agree with your daughters. Sorry.
Okay. All right. How I feel. All right. Well, hey, thanks for joining us on the Behind the Frenzy podcast. Looking forward to a great weekend of football, and we will talk to you next week.